क्या आप जानते हैं कि सेरोगेसी क्या होता है? What is surrogacy and why is it making headlines in India? In a very simple term, surrogacy involves a woman agreeing to carry a baby for someone else. After the baby is born, the birth mother gives custody and guardianship to the intended parent or parents. If a couple wants to have a child but are not able to conceive, or the woman does not want to go through pregnancy, they hire a surrogate mother to carry their child for 9 months. The mother gives up the baby to the couple after it is born, and in return, she will be compensated as agreed. तो सपोज एक कपल है जिन्हें बच्चा नहीं हो रहा है और उन्हें बच्चे की ज़रूरत है, उन्हें बच्चे की चाह है, तो वो एक सैरोगेट मदर को हायर करेंगे. उस सैरोगेट मदर को के साथ एक कॉन्ट्रैक्ट साइन करेंगे और उसे कहेंगे कि मुझे एक हेल्दी बच्चा चाहिए और उस बच्चे के बदले में तुम्हें पैसे मिल जाएगा, राइट? तो डॉक्टर्स के हेल्प से जो वुमेन होता है उनका एग एंड जो मेल होता है उनका स्पर्म को फर्टिलाइज किया जाता है लैब में, और फिर जो एम्ब्रायो फॉर्म होता है वो एक सैरोगेट मदर के अंदर डाल दिया जाता है. यहाँ पे दो चीज का बात हो रहा है. नंबर 1 सैरोगेट मदर एंड नंबर 2 इंटेंडेड पेरेंट. सो सैरोगेट मदर को अपने पेट में 9 मंथ्स के लिए वो बच्चा पालना है एंड देन वो इंटेंडेड पेरेंट्स को दे देना है और पैसा ले लेना है. ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट बेसिस पे होता है. There are 2 types of surrogacy. Number 1, traditional surrogacy, and number 2, gestational surrogacy. What is traditional surrogacy? This is also known as the straight surrogacy arrangement in where the surrogate becomes an egg provider and the carrier of the pregnancy. The person who is the carrier of the pregnancy is also linked to the pregnancy. Gestational surrogacy. The surrogate only provides the host environment to the embryo or the pregnancy and not an egg provider. The person who is carrying the pregnancy is not genetically related. So the intended parent who for whatever reason cannot carry the baby hire a gestational surrogate mother to carry the baby, in which they themselves provide the egg or the donor's egg and the sperm or the donor's sperm. ट्रेडिशनल सैरोगेसी होता है, उसमें जो सैरोगेट माँ होती है वो इस बच्चे से जेनेटिकली लिंक्ड होती है, क्योंकि उसमें उसका एग होता है, उसका एग ही फर्टिलाइज होता है. बट जो जेस्टेशनल सैरोगेसी है, इसमें जो सैरोगेट मदर होती है वो उस बच्चे से जेनेटिकली और बायोलॉजिकली लिंक्ड नहीं होती है. यही डिफरेंस है ट्रेडिशनल एंड जेस्टेशनल सैरोगेसी में. Now let's get into the history of surrogacy in India. In 2002, commercial surrogacy became legal in India. The legislature did not put any effort to make any codified law or a surrogacy law till 2008. What is commercial surrogacy? Commercial surrogacy is a type of surrogacy where the surrogate mother is compensated for delivering the baby to the intended parent. So she is actually giving her womb for rent. Yes, अपने गर्भ को किराए पर देना, उस बच्चे की पैदा होने के बाद उस बच्चे को इंटेंडेड पेरेंट्स के हवाले दे देना और उसके बदले पैसे ले लेना. This is commercial surrogacy.
The 2002 legislation was done to promote medical tourism in India. And after that legislation, India became a hub for surrogacy. The main reason India being a hub for surrogacy was poverty, and the second reason was non-strictness of legislation in India. There were no defined law for surrogacy in India. The economic scale of surrogacy in India is unknown, but study backed by the United Nations in July 2012 estimated the business at more than $400 million a year, with over 3,000 fertility clinics in India. So there was an urgent need for surrogacy law. The most common issue arising out of the practice of surrogacy without any regulation were the surrogates were being subjected to unethical treatment, poor living condition and exploitation. मतलब उनके साथ हमेशा exploitation होता था. Like they were actually making babies, but सबसे ज़्यादा exploitation उनके साथ ही होता था. The surrogates only get a smaller portion of the hefty fees from the surrogate agency of what they received from the intended parents. मतलब ये जो मिडिल मैन थे, जो मिडिल सेरेगेसी क्लिनिक थे, उन लोग का सबसे ज़्यादा प्रॉफिट होता था इस चीज़ में. They were forced to continue being surrogates due to poverty and lack of education, and they continue to be used as baby making machines by these agencies for money making. This continued practice of surrogacy deteriorated the physical and mental health. Abandonment of the children born out of surrogacy. So these were the problem which the surrogate mothers had to face, and actually they were exploited the most in this whole process.
Baby Manji Yamada versus Union of India, the case that spurred the Indian government to enact surrogacy laws.
This case was the first surrogacy case decided by the Supreme Court, and it raised a need to bring law to regulate the existing surrogacy industry in India. A Japanese couple who came to Anand, a state of Gujarat, looking for surrogates. They have undergone gestational surrogacy, but they soon developed marital problems and got divorced, and the mother left for Japan before baby Manji's birth from gestational surrogacy. The existing laws did not cover such a situation, and the baby's intended father cannot adopt baby Manji because he was divorced, and a single father cannot adopt due to India's Guardianship and Ward Act 1890. So later, the custody of baby Manji was given to her grandmother, means Mr. Yamada's mother. So it will be baby Manji's grandmother. This whole case was sensational, and this case called for a legislation to regulate surrogacy in India. Even the Law Commission highlighted that there is a need to enact a law to regulate commercial surrogacy. The Law Commission, in its 208th report, recommended prohibiting commercial surrogacy, and the reasons were use of surrogacy prevalently by the foreigners. मतलब foreigners surrogacy टेक्निक को ज़्यादा यूज़ कर रहे थे बिकॉज उनके लिए ये काफ़ी चीप पड़ रहा था. लैक ऑफ प्रॉपर लीगल फ्रेमवर्क, मतलब एक प्रॉपर लीगल फ्रेमवर्क नहीं था इंडिया में. एंड सरोगेट मदर का एक्सप्लॉयटेशन तो था ही ड्यू टू पॉवर्टी एंड लैक ऑफ एजुकेशन. Therefore, in 2015, a notification of the Government of India prohibited surrogacy for foreign nationals. And in 2016, the first surrogacy regulation bill was introduced in the Lok Sabha, but it lapsed because the parliament dissolved. The surrogacy regulation bill was reintroduced in Lok Sabha on July 15, 2019, and it was passed in the Lok Sabha on 5 August 2019. Further, for discussion, it was sent to the Select Committee of Rajya Sabha. After incorporating all the recommendations given by the Select Committee of the Rajya Sabha, the bill was passed by both the House of the Parliament, and finally Ramnath Kovind, the President of India, gave his assent to the bill, to the surrogacy regulation bill on 2021. The act it actually came into force on 25 January 2022.
Let's do a complete analysis of Surrogacy Regulation Act 2021.
The act prohibits commercial surrogacy, but altruistic surrogacy is allowed. Altruistic surrogacy does not involve monetary compensation to the surrogate mother other than medical expenses and insurance coverage. इसका मतलब ये है कि गवर्नमेंट ने कमर्शियल सरोगेसी को पूरा बंद कर दिया. अब सिर्फ altruistic surrogacy ही फॉलो होगा. Number 2, the intended couples should have certificate of essentiality and a certificate of eligibility issued by an appropriate authority. And it should also provides that intending couple should not abandon the child born out of surrogacy under any condition. मतलब आप उस बच्चे को कभी भी abandon नहीं कर सकते under any condition. The center and the state government shall constitute the National Surrogacy Board and the State Surrogacy Board, respectively, to ensure effective regulation. This act also talk about the eligibility criteria of the surrogate mother. The surrogate mother must be a close relative to the intending couple and be a married woman having a child of her own. She should be between the age of 25 and 35 years. The bill also seeks to regulate functioning of the surrogacy clinics. It specifies that no sex selection can be done when it comes to surrogacy. And lastly, the bill also provides for various safeguards for surrogate mothers.